Hello everyone and welcome back to Odds on La Liga. On today's show, we'll be previewing every match of Matchday 24 in the Spanish Primera with tips and predictions on every single game. If you enjoyed the show, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell to make sure you don't miss any of our daily video uploads. And remember, you can win a £10 free bet from Novibet simply by joining the conversation. So please do drop into the comments. Tell us a tip, tell us what you're betting on this weekend, and you can win a £10 free bet. But before we get started, I must introduce our very esteemed guest. It's Spanish and European football journalist Alvaro Romeo. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Tom. How are you? It's a pleasure to be here, as usually. Looking forward to this very much today.
It's going to be great. And we start even tonight, actually, on Friday evening. It's Real Betis against Getafe. Betis are 7th in the league. Only one defeat in their last 7 games. That was actually against Barca 3-2, so not too shabby there. And they've definitely improved in the second half of the campaign from 2021, or start of 2021 to now. They take on Getafe. They're on a bit of a horrible run of form, to be honest. Just 1 point from their last 5 away games and 2 wins from 11, not scoring in their last 4. So it doesn't look great for them. However, Getafe did win the reverse fixture 3-0 in September. Betis are 2.16 to win this game. What are the reasons for me not backing that?
I don't know, Tom. That's a tricky one, but I think that this is going to be a Betis win. I really backed up this time. 2.14 is what you will get for Betis to win this game, and I'm going to back that. Look, Betis lately, they've been doing very well, as you said before. They have won 4, drawn 1, and lost 1 in the last 6 games, and they are only 3 points off Europe. This is a team, Betis, that we have to remember that it's a team of runs, it's a team of feelings, it's a team of depends on how we are doing. We can make a great run or have an abysmal time, and at this stage they are in a really good run, to the point that they started the season being leaders, topping the table at some point. Then they drop a lot on the table, and now they are fantastic again. Canales, Fekir, Borja Iglesias up front, they are making such a difference for Betis, and defensively they have improved as well. So, that's the reason why they are 3 points off Europe. I think that they can still qualify for the Europa League. I really think so. Basically because they are not playing European football, and they can focus all their attention in the domestic competition. And Getafe, on the other hand, they are probably in comparison to last year, the worst team of La Liga. I mean, last season they were capable of putting a fight against Inter. They beat Ajax in the Europa League. They managed to qualify or to be among the 10 best team in La Liga last season. So they are at this stage of the competition with many doubts. The manager, Bordalás, has been sent off twice in the last 3 games, which tells you a lot about how nervous they are over there. They have scored only 17 goals this season. And yes, I know that Yenene Kunam, probably their best defender, is back, but they are still 3 points off the relegation. So I'm backing Betis to win, and I'm going to back this one too. This is a little bit strange, I know, but I think that there will be over 7 yellow cards in this game. Why? Because Getafe is the team with more yellows in La Liga, and Betis likes going forward and suffers in the transitions on the break. So I'm going for over 7 yellow cards in this game, and that pays 382.
382. So we're expecting some feisty challenges and behaviour from both sets of players. Okay, moving on to the next game. It's a real bottom of the table scrap between Elche and Eibar on Saturday. Neither of these sides have won any of their last 6 games. Elche 19th, just 1 home win all season, 17 games ago. But they do have 2 games in hand over their rivals, so perhaps they're positionally best suited to be able to move away from danger. Eibar, on the other hand, they're definitely better away from home. They're actually 9th in the away standings. What insight can you give us to make a more informed decision heading into this game?
Well, I think that one of the reasons why Eibar are better away than from home is because their home is so small and so cagey that if you don't have any supporters there, it goes against you as well. I think that Eibar is paying as well the fact that they are playing in a tiny ground. So, look, for this game, I'm going to draw back a draw. I think that that is a very good bet because both teams are capable of getting something like that. Elche has a new manager, Fran Escribá, and I am expecting a little bit of a lift with the new manager. This is the manager that got Elche promoted few years ago to the top flight. So he knows the club, he knows how to run it. So, and at the same time, Eibar are basically better than Elche. They managed to get a draw against Valladolid. They are a team that has been already in the top flight for over 7 years. So I'm going to back a draw for this game because I think that Eibar has the know-how to get a draw away against a team like Elche that hasn't won a game since October. And I also back the under 2 goals market. That duplicates your money as well. And I can see this game being cagey and this game ending in a draw.
Okay, we've got decent odds there. Clearly, the bookmakers find it hard to separate them as well. In the third game in the Primera, we have Atletico, the leaders, against Levante. This is actually a repeat of a Wednesday night's 1-1 draw in the league. As we know, Atleti are top, but their 10-point lead has been reduced to 6. However, they still do have a game in hand. They've drawn 2 of their last 3 against Celta and Levante. And clearly their long run of winning to nil is over. They've conceded in all of their last 6 games, which is quite interesting because I know that was something that you fancied quite a lot earlier in the season. Levante, they're 11th. They've drawn 10 games this season in the league. Only Villarreal have drawn more with 12. But however, they've only lost 2 of their last 11 league games. And of course, they beat Real Madrid 2-1 at the end of January. So Atleti have 1.6 to win this one. How do we look at getting more appealing odds for our viewers?
I think, Tom, that this is time to get back to normal for Atletico de Madrid. They are facing Chelsea in a week time. And I think that it will be such a booster for them to have another clean sheet after not having any for the last 6 games. So that I'm going to back that one, a clean sheet for Atletico de Madrid. That duplicates your money. And a win to nil for Atletico de Madrid is something that I used to do, and I admit my mistakes. Lately, Atletico hasn't been able to keep a clean sheet, but this time I'm going to back that. I know that the game in midweek against Levante was tough for Atletico. They only managed to get a draw at Ciudad de Valencia, and to the point that Jan Black made a decisive save pretty much at the end of the game to save a point for Atletico de Madrid. But I expect Atletico going back to business this time ahead of the Champions League. They need a lift, they need a booster, and some players will probably make the difference here, like, for example, Marcos Llorente and Luis Suarez. They've been capable of scoring many goals this season, and I can see Atletico, as I said before, winning and leaving their goal well defended and a clean sheet.
Okay, great. You can get a win to nil at 2.45 on Oddspedia. In the next game we have to preview is Valencia against Celta Vigo. Valencia 13th. They're actually just 3 points above the relegation zone. And I think the league position is actually really disguising the problems that are going on at the Mestalla. Celta are 10th. They've won 1, drawn 3, and lost 1 of their last 5 games, which is obviously in very mid-table, pretty average form. They're going to be without star man Iago Aspas for this game. Looking at the tips, Valencia not great at home, Celta not great away. So odds of 3.32 on a draw look pretty good to me.
Yes, I think that those are good odds, definitely. Look, I was watching Valencia against Real Madrid last weekend, and this is probably the most disappointing Valencia I've seen in years, especially in terms of spirit. They didn't put a fight against Real Madrid, and that was an awful game, to the point that after the game, the captain, José Luis Gallá, left back, he always talks to the press, and he is a player who is always talking to media when the team loses. So this is something that journalists should be thankful for. And Gallá was saying with that attitude, they weren't going anywhere. And I do believe that there is a lack of spirit at Valencia. However, Celta de Vigo, for all the goals they concede and for all the dysfunctionalities that they have as well, because they do have some, and of course, Iago Aspas is out. With the new manager, Chacho Coudet, they got 22 points in 14 games, which is quite a good average. I mean, good enough definitely to eject themselves from the bottom of the table, and probably good enough to finish in the top half of the table at the end of the season. So here, if this game was played in front of the crowd, I would back Valencia because they really need the points. But this season we're not having that. So I'm going to back the following. An Asian handicap of 0 for Celta. That's interesting enough because that duplicates your money. And Celta to win away is one of my big bets of the weekend. I'm going to back that one, and that one triples up your money. You get 3.06 for a Celta winning away.
Okay, that's pretty good money as well if you look at it. Into the next game, it's rounding off Saturday's action. It's Real Valladolid against Real Madrid. Valladolid 18th, no wins in 5 in La Liga at home. It's really, I've actually struggled to find any sort of positives or interesting stats I can bring you on their form. They are just struggling at the bottom. They're definitely in a relegation fight. And looks like that scrap will go down to the wire. At the other end of the table, Real Madrid second. The top sides in La Liga are just winning juggernauts, really. That's what they do. They win league games. Clearly, Real Madrid are favourites for this one. There's a huge contrast in quality here. For me, Real Madrid Asian handicap -1 is 1.99. They scored 2 or more in 7 of their last 10 league games. What do you fancy for this one, Alvaro?
Yeah, I like that one too. That Asian handicap that you mentioned. That is something that I kept written here in front of me because I think that would be a very, very interesting market. We have to remember a couple of things about Real Madrid. They are playing the Champions League next week, and Karim Benzema is their latest injured player. So obviously, without Benzema, Real Madrid doesn't have a proper striker because we have to remember that they sold or they sent on loan Luka Jovic to Eintracht Frankfurt as well. So Mariano is the only recognized striker they've got in the squad, and he's not a guarantee of goals at all, at least playing for Real Madrid. So look, Real Madrid is 6 points away from Atletico de Madrid, and Atletico has a game in hand. But I do believe that Real Madrid can still think that winning La Liga is possible. I mean, I've seen Real Madrid doing remontadas of this caliber. For example, I remember in the 2006-2007 season, they managed to cut a deficit like this with Barcelona. So why not to believe, despite the injuries? So I think that Real Madrid is going to win this game because Valladolid is in a terrible run. Look, they couldn't beat Elche. They couldn't beat Levante. They lost against Huesca as well, and they couldn't beat Alaves and Eibar. That's in the last 5 games. This is not a team that you can rely on. You cannot believe in Valladolid at this stage. So I'm going to back the Asian handicap -1 for Valladolid because I think that Madrid is going to win but not by a heavy margin. And the under 2 goals is an interesting one too, for me at least, because I think Real Madrid is going to win, but Benzema is not there, so Real Madrid probably will struggle with the scoring. And under 2 goals in this game pays 320.
Okay, they're good odds for a low scorer there. Moving into Sunday's action, it's Barca at home to Cadiz. Barca third. What a performance against PSG on Tuesday nights. 4-1 to the Parisians at the Camp Nou. Another starring performance from Kylian Mbappe, a glimpse perhaps of what the future is going to look like. In La Liga, Barca are in excellent form. They've won their last 7. They've won actually 10 of their last 12, drawing the other 2. And they also got a game in hand over their fierce rivals Real. Their opponents, Cadiz, the bell tower in Cadiz will certainly be ringing very loudly to warn the residents of their terrible form. Yeah. They're 19th in the form standings, just 5 points from the last 6 games, 1 win in 11. Again, one positive omen is that they did beat Barca 2-1 in the reverse fixture, but I think things have really changed since then. Cadiz to repeat that feat and beat Barca is odds of 19, but it looks unlikely. What do you like the look of in this game?
Yeah, I think that there is a total trust on Barcelona, according to the odds, and I cannot disagree with that, because one thing is Barcelona in Europe, and we know that in Europe, in the last 6-7 years, they haven't been convincing. I mean, they haven't won a Champions League since 2015, but there is a very different story in La Liga, and the narrative is totally different. I think that they are managing to get the results, especially lately in La Liga, and I can see Barcelona winning this game. Obviously, winning this game alone is not good enough for your money. In this case, you have to go to different markets. And for example, I like a couple of them that I would like to underline. Not the Asian handicap -2, for Barcelona, because even that one doesn't double up your money. There is no trust on Cadiz whatsoever from the bookmaker. So go for this one, for example. Both teams to score. That doubles up your money. And that's interesting because Barcelona is the leading team of La Liga in mistakes that led to errors that led to opponents' goals. So Barcelona in defense, they are making collective mistakes, but also plenty of individual mistakes. And there is a market that I love, and I'm going to keep for the ACA as well. Barcelona to win both halves, which is something that they already did against Alaves when they beat them 5-1 last weekend. Barcelona to win both halves pays you 2.25. That one is a very interesting one as well.
Lovely stuff. That is Barca Cadiz covered. We now move on to Real Sociedad against Alaves. We were waxing lyrical about Real Sociedad in the Europa League preview earlier in the week. They ended up being battered 4-0 by United. Sociedad 5th. They won their last 2 games after 2 draws in a row, but they're picking up points to keep them in slight contention of those Champions League spots. It does look like they're probably going to have to settle for a Europa League qualification spot. Fingers crossed for them at this point. Alaves, they're 1 point above the drop zone. They're one of only 3 teams in the bottom 8 to win any of their last 5 games in La Liga. Sociedad are quite good defensively, and Alaves have got a quite poor scoring run. So Sociedad to win to nil is 2.63. What do you like the look of in this tie?
It's strange because for this game I'm going to back the double chance for Alaves.
Okay.
Yeah, that will give you 2.30. I think that's an interesting one as well, because let's don't forget that this is a derby. Let's don't forget that Abelardo, the manager of Alaves, knows how to do with his own team. He kept them away from relegation 3 seasons ago. He took them to a cup final in 2017, and I know that this Alaves squad is different to the one 3 years ago, but still, this manager has the know-how. And I was so disappointed with Real Sociedad the other day against Manchester United because they were outplayed in every possible department, the physical, the technical, even the tactical as well. So I think that, I was expecting more from Real Sociedad, as our friend Daniele, our Italian editor, was expecting as well. But I think that in this case, the result against Manchester United has been a blow for Real Sociedad, probably a shock of reality, not only for Real Sociedad, but also for Spanish football, let's put it that way, with the defeats of Paris Saint-Germain and Sevilla. Barcelona against Paris Saint-Germain and Sevilla against Dortmund too. So I'm backing that one. The double chance for Alaves this time, a team that is improving gradually, slowly, and Alaves, let's don't forget that they've got 2 strikers, that they are quite clinical and quite dangerous as well. One of them is Joselu, the other one is Lucas Perez, both Premier League, ex-Premier League footballers too. So I think that those 2 strikers, they can make a difference here and at least snatch a point for Real Sociedad, for Alaves.
Yeah. Okay, well, that'll be interesting. Further compound Sociedad's recent misery. Alaves potentially getting a point or a win away in the Basque Country. Well, in the Basque Country, actually. Moving on to the next game, it's Wesker against Granada. We have Huesca, of course, they're the bottom side in La Liga. They're probably adrift. The one team you could probably say are really facing, definitely going to be in the relegation fight there. They've actually scored the fewest goals, just 18, and 2 wins all season. They were against Valladolid and Alaves. Granada, on the other hand, we mentioned them again, how they were going to be exhausted, they're tired, but then they went away and they beat Napoli 2-0 in the Europa League. Their away form hasn't been impressive at all in the league, though. 2 points from their last 5. They're actually 19th in the away standings. Just looking at the odds here, Huesca bottom, but they're actually favourites for this game. Granada have odds of 3.75 to win this. As an outsider, I want you to explain that to me because I don't actually understand.
Well, I think that Granada hasn't been doing great in La Liga. That's one thing. Up until Monday, they were the team that had conceded more goals in La Liga, but then Athletic Club Bilbao scored 4 goals against Cadiz, and Cadiz became that team. So I think that their defense has been a problem throughout the season. And yes, they beat Napoli, and that was surprising too. But at the same time, one thing is the European form, and another thing is what they are doing in La Liga. So I would say that Huesca are improved. They got 4 points of the last 15 with the new manager, but that is not enough. That is not enough. I don't think that Huesca will avoid relegation, but there are 3 key games for them right now. One of them is this weekend's one against Granada, then they play against Eibar, then they play against Celta. If they get good results in those games, maybe Huesca can still believe. But for this game, I'm going for the following market. Both teams to score. Simple as that. Because Granada is the 2nd worst defense in La Liga. And at the same time, going forward, they've got certain dangerosity. So both teams to score is definitely my bet for this game. That duplicates your money.
Yep, you can get odds of 2.1 on both teams to score with Huesca and Granada. We look at the penultimate game of La Liga this weekend. It's Osasuna against Sevilla. No, we don't. We look at Athletic Club de Bilbao against Villarreal. Athletic 10th. They've lost 4 of their last 10 league games, but they were against Real Madrid, Sociedad, and Barcelona twice. So it's not like they were playing easy opposition there. They've only failed to score in 1 of their last 11 games, and that was actually in the Basque Derby against Sociedad. And their opponents, Villarreal, they're 6th. They can't stop drawing. They've drawn 4 of their last 5 with 1 defeat the other game. They actually had a similar patch in November when they drew 5 of their 6 games. I'm tipping a draw here. No, no, I'm tipping both teams to score at bang on 2. What do you think for this one?
Yep, I like something like that, Tom. That's spot on. I'm going for the following, I'm going for the over 3 goals in the game. That pays 380, and I do believe that is going to happen. Look, Villarreal has 2 very good Spanish strikers, not world-class strikers, okay? But Gerard Moreno and Paco Alcácer, they are hitting normally double figures, which is something that will keep Villarreal always fighting for European positions, not European silverware. And then Athletic Club Bilbao, they are much more offensive since Marcelino arrived in the team, to the point that the other day they beat Cadiz 4-0 away, to the point that they have won the Super Cup against Barcelona, beating them 3-2, which is very impressive as well. So I think that these 2 teams, they are quite attractive right now. Athletic Club Bilbao, they are definitely uplifted since the new manager arrived, and let's not forget that they will play a cup final in April, so they could lift their first cup trophy for the first time in 37 years. So I'm going to back here goals. I think that this is going to be a goal feast, and the over 3 goals in this game, I love it. That pays 380, and I do trust on the strikers for this game.
Okay, goals to be expected in this one, and this one is the final game of match day 24. It's Osasuna against Sevilla. Osasuna 12th. They're outside of the top 4. They're probably one of the more informed sides in the division. They've won 3 of their last 5, drawing another. They did really need this run of good form, because prior to this, they hadn't won a league game since October. Looking at Sevilla, their opponents, their away sides, they've got 5 league wins in a row. Their run of 9 wins in all competitions came to an end on Wednesday, despite taking that early lead against Dortmund. What do you like the look of? I'm looking at Seville to bounce back with a win again here with odds of 2. It looks quite nice money for me.
Yes, I agree with that one. I had that one, and I also believe that for all the good form that Osasuna is having, they got 10 points of the last 15. They beat Levante in the last game. They are 4 points off the relegation, and they got a striker like Ante Budimir, who is in a scoring form. I mean, he scored 6 goals already in La Liga. He knows what he does because he scored 13 goals last season. So things are looking good for Osasuna right now. Is that enough to beat Sevilla? I don't think so. In fact, Sevilla is a wounded team. I mean, they lost against Borussia Dortmund. They conceded 3 goals at home. That basically is very hard to take for a team that proud and for a manager who basically loves defensive stability. So I cannot see Sevilla conceding goals in this game. I'm sure that they are going to go for a clean sheet. And then, of course, they will go forward with a certain amount of hunger. But keeping a clean sheet is going to be key in this game for Sevilla to get their act together, to get the plot back, and to go back to basics. So I'm going to back, as well as a win from Sevilla, a clean sheet for Sevilla here. That pays 225.
Lovely stuff. That is every game on Matchday 24 in the Primera covered. But there's just one last thing that we need to do before we sign off, and that is Alvaro's La Liga ACA. Give the people what they want.
Well, if they want, let's say, 37.5 pounds, euros, dollars, it's a good one. It's a good one. I'm going to back the following. Betis to win on Friday. A clean sheet for Atletico de Madrid. Barcelona to win both halves. And over 3 goals in the Athletic Club Villarreal game. 37.5.
Okay, guys, I'll make sure to write that in the comments section below, and the description, so you'll be able to see that. But make sure you get on it tonight, because Betis kick off later this evening on Friday. If you've enjoyed the show, please do give this video a like. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss any of our daily betting videos. And you can now also listen to this show on our Odds On podcast. Remember, you can win a £10 free bet from Novibet just by leaving a comment. So make sure you do that too once we've uploaded this. But we'll be back next week for all the previews across the top leagues in Europe, also Champions League football, Europa League. The football's never ending. But I want to thank you, Alvaro, for your time and your insight today.
Of course, you're welcome, and it's been a pleasure to be here.
See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye. Take care.